What is the ultimate measure of a software engineer? Is it your knowledge of data structures? The ability to think through an intricate problem in detail? Writing elegant code? No. Guys, come on. It's clearly how fast you can type, preferably on a thunderous keyboard that lets everybody in the office know you are doing serious work. You want to really just intimidate everyone and assert your dominance to the point where they don't even consider thinking about or questioning your architectural decisions. They're just like, look at that guy work. So what if I told you I could triple your typing speed with one simple trick they don't want you to know about? Pretty good, right? Right? Okay, well, to get to 3x anything, we need to know what 1x is. So first, let's navigate over to monkeytype.com and take a quick test and see where we are. Ready, set, go. Come on. Finish strong, strong. All right, 79 words per minute, 96% accuracy. Not bad, right? Well, it depends. So if we look here, what's considered a fast typing speed? Generally between 70 and 90 words per minute, okay. But I am a far cry from world class, which is a shameful thing. So how can we improve this? How can we do better? Well, verbally, we're capable of an easy 140 to 250 words per minute. Here you can see different conversational styles, so presentation perhaps between 100 and 150, and then you get up to auctioneers in the 250 words per minute range, and I don't believe commentators can say anything at 400 words per minute. But regardless, we can clearly see that it's much easier and quicker to read something. As an example, quickly, go back to Monkeytype. How quickly could you do this if you were reading it out? At, no, do, present, problem, into, use, around, real, should, through, make. Clearly, we can do this much faster. So what we need is the one, the true, the best open source transcription software, which I will introduce you to now. It is called Whispering. All right, so to grab Whispering, we're going to first search for Epicenter Whispering GitHub. Epicenter is a group of local first open source applications. We'll go up to the project root and we'll look at the releases that are available. And we're going to select the relevant release for our operating system. So, for example, if you were on a Linux or a Mac machine, you would take the DMG, RPMs and debs are both for Linux. EXE is for Windows. And then you could just get the source. So we'll go ahead and I'm going to set this up on a Mac, although your setup will be very similar in other operating systems. Yes, we'll just replace it. And before we get started, I want to just go over kind of the underlying philosophy because I think it's really important. I think this is kind of a movement that really should be encouraged. So he really liked the hands-free voice dictation for years. He relied on transcription tools that were almost good, but they were all closed source. Even those claiming to be local or on device first were still black boxes that left me wondering where my audio really went. Absolutely, especially you have these open source projects, or not even open source, but you have these freemium projects where it's free to you right now, but then at some point the creator sells to someone else and then they start doing funny business with it and it gets really sketchy very quickly. So he built Whispering. It's open source, local first, and most importantly, transparent with your data. Your data is stored locally on your device and your audio goes directly from your machine to a local provider or your chosen cloud provider without any middleman or vendor lock-in. For me, the features were good enough that I left my paid tools behind. He used to use Super Whisper and Whisper Flow before. We'll look at Super Whisper in just a minute. Productivity apps should be open source and transparent with your data. Absolutely. So love everything this guy is doing. So let's go into the downloads and we'll install this. Bring up whispering. It's an app from the internet. Are we sure we want to open it? Yes, absolutely. We need accessibility permissions. So we will go under security and privacy. We're going to look and we're going to see that whispering has not been enabled here. So we're going to enable it, put in our password. On Windows, you might need to do something with UIC or something like that. Now we need to perform our setup. So I like to run things locally, although you can choose to do other providers. What I'll do is I take the Whisper model. We'll talk about Whisper in just a minute. And I've actually found that Tiny works really well. So we'll download that. You can definitely bump things up if you want to, at the cost of additional space. And then this is a model that's going to be loaded into memory and run. So it's going to take up space. The latest M series Mac chips tend to be really good at doing inference for AI models. So you probably won't have issues there. You could also, though, if you wanted to, use like an open API key or DeepGram or any of these other providers. But I prefer to keep everything on device. So we just saw that finished. And so I am going to use this Command-Shift-P to start recording audio. I really like that shortcut. You can also do voice activated. I don't find that to be as useful. So Command-Shift-P, you hear the sound that just happened, and now it's listening to me. You get a little notice that it's also listening. I have too many things currently in my activity bar. This is all being transcribed right now, and let's look at the accuracy. So Command-Shift-P. You hear the sound that just happened, and now it's listening to me. You get a little notice that it's listening. I already have too many things in the activity bar. Yeah, this all seems really good, and especially when you consider this is the smallest model. It starts up immediately, so it's absolutely fantastic. Love this, love whispering. I've been using it for quite a while. It really makes you wonder why anybody would pay for something like Super Whisper, which I'm going to pick on them, mostly because I think they're the most popular player in this space of closed source wrappers around the Whisper models that were released, which we'll look at in a minute. But when you look at their pricing model, I really fundamentally hate this model where it's like, well, you have a free tier, absolutely, and then you can pay per month. Whatever happened to just, hey, $30 one time and you get 2 years of updates or something like that? Like, no, I don't want to spend $85 a year on your proprietary system that you insist is local first, but maybe it is for now, maybe it isn't. Maybe the free tier stays as it is, or maybe you just slowly move features over. It feels gross. And I think a large part of the reason for its popularity is tweets like this, like the original vibe coding tweet, which mentions Super Whisper by name. So I think a lot of this is marketing and just not realizing that there are great alternatives elsewhere. And I think it's worth knowing where all this is coming from and what it's referencing. So the Whisper models were speech recognition models that were released about 3 years ago as open source by OpenAI. Subsequently, there was a really popular library that came out called whisper.cpp that ported all this to C and C++. And as a result, now we had these really good models that could be repackaged and reused elsewhere. So when we were originally pulling down those models, we were actually pulling them from Hugging Faces, where you have these different quantizations. Quantization is a way of taking a larger model and kind of chopping off some precision just to make it fit in a smaller space. So you might notice this is very close to I think it was a 77 megabyte download that we did for whispering. All right, that's the video. I'm on this YouTube grind and I'm looking for content, looking for engagement. So if you have recommendations in terms of topics you'd like covered, here is your opportunity to tell me and I will cover them. All right, have a good one.